Hey, it's Kevin Petersen. It's Thursday. It's Family Matters. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Happy.
I am cold. We are going through our winter spell in Texas right now, so I'm just cold. So
You know what you need, my friend. Let me tell you what you need to break that cold. Is you need some Bucky's teriyaki jerky.
and don't threaten me with Bucky's.
I drove down to Orlando for the NatSap trade show, and I stopped on their way and on the way back.
Go check out chroniclehope.us for reach out to Kevin directly. He's got a lot of great things we'll get into probably next week or something. We're going to go, I think we threatened to have a discussion, we're going to move that to next week. And they've got a private Facebook group with just families. If you're not on Instagram watching them right now, you're missing out. Instagram, Kevin W. Petersen. I am live on my Instagram, I think for the very first time. I think I keep forgetting to go live. So you got to hit the go live button. So anyway, Family Matters, we do this every week. We get into the mind, the antics, the behaviors, and the dance moves of Kevin Petersen. I call him the Family Whisperer. And any topic is on the table. Substance abuse, substance misuse, addiction, codependency, parenting, boundaries. He's written 2 books. He should be working on his 3rd. I try to keep telling him to work on his 3rd and 4th and 5th. But anyway, if you want to deal with family matters, you came to the right show. So
that's us, baby. We're all in,
Kevin. So we've had a lot of questions. So I'm just going to rapid fire questions because there's a lot of themes to it. But one we get every week, I'll just say that, is when the belief that he's in, how do you know if he's going to grow out of it, if it's just a phase? There's always this, trouble early, maybe in his late teen years. Mom and dad, they one of 2 things: either he or she grew out of it, or it spiraled really quick. And so families kind of have this answer, like, how do you know? Like, is the belief like, will he grow out of it? He or she grow out of it? Like, how do you deal with that kind of fork in the road?
Okay, there's a couple of layers inside that question.
Multi-layers.
Yeah. So the what I'm saying is 2 things. One thing I've noticed is I've seen a lot of folks show up in the recovery world that were sort of brought in their teens, and they may or may not be an addict or an alcoholic. They might have just gotten into a lot of trouble, been kind of stupid, done some stupid stuff. So the question then becomes, so how does the family know which one's which? Totally understand that. Makes perfect sense. Okay, couple of things to look. Well, this is why we just want to set a real clear boundary. Here's the deal. There's 3 kinds of people that use drugs and alcohol. There's what I call the social drinker, which is my sister, who can have a beer or 2 or a glass of wine. I don't even think she does drugs, and she's fine. She starts to get that feeling, and she's like, I'm good. I got to put myself in a timeout. I'm okay. Totally don't understand her. Completely freak of nature type of environment for me. But that's who she is, and that's how she operates. Then there's what we call the hard drinker. Now, the hard drinker is what a lot of people confuse with alcoholics and addicts, or a hard user, hard drinker, whatever you want to call it. Here's the difference. So someone that's a hard drinker definitely, drinks a lot, uses drugs, parties a lot, may get into trouble, may have issues, but on their own, given a sufficient reason, can pull it back and get under control. Now, that may be a stern talking to by the parents. It may be, a nudge from the judge. It may be some legal action. It may be, I have a really good friend from my childhood who he got a DUI, and that was like, whoop, that's it. Turned around, straightened out. He ended up going to medical school. I mean, he's fine. Then there's this other category, which is statistically about 10 to 12% of the country, of the population, what we call addict alcoholic, who cannot control the amount.
We'll call that person Jay. All right.
Oh, okay, and Kevin. We'll call them Jay and Kevin. They cannot control the amount they drink or use. And I don't mean like every time you and I touch alcohol or drugs, it's like, whoa, it's unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is that 9 times out of 10, we tend to go overboard and get into trouble, lose jobs, lose relationships, piss off everybody, get legal issues. So with that knowledge, you would think, oh my God, I won't do this anymore. That's where the real problem is. So there's I know you know this, but this is a truth.
Yeah.
So that's what we call the phenomenon of craving. Phenomenon of craving is once I take a drink, the party starts. We don't know where we're going. When I always tell people, it's not the caboose that kills you when you get hit by a train, right? It's not the 35th drink. It's the first one. So how do you avoid the first one? Well, that's where the hard drinker and the social drinker are like, whoop, nope, can't do this. I got to show up for something. I got a responsibility. I got to take care of myself, whatever. The alcoholic may have that thought, but the overriding thought to him is, I can make this work. This time it's going to be different. I'm not going to get into trouble. I'm not going to, go down this path. It's the big lie. It's the hustle we hustle ourselves. This time it's going to be different. This time it's going to be okay. And we call that the mental obsession. And then the final piece, of course, of that is what we call the spiritual malady, which is, I don't need any help. I may have the phenomenon of craving. I may have the mental obsession, but I don't need any help. I'm going to figure this out all by myself. And those tend to be last words of people that are alcoholics and addicts, just famous last words, And so it's a long-winded explanation to how does the family know? The only way you're going to know is by setting strict boundaries. No drugs, no alcohol. You got to go to school, or you got to go to work, and you got to perform, and you got to behave within the family structure. If they can do it, great. If they can't, they can't. And then we go to step B. It's that simple. I mean, that really is the answer.
So a caveat that we get, the follow-up is, one of it's not pointing fingers, and there's always, we only get emails, and so we don't even know the full story. But when you have a parent that is showing that is maybe teetering on that hard drinker, hard user to addict alcoholic, it's, we get a lot of people writing in, and it's, is it fair or unfair to set boundaries as a parent when the spouse, or maybe they're divorced or something, has issues in itself. So is it, that's what I think the reply that we get to a lot of the questions, is it fair or unfair to set boundaries when one of the parents is necessarily not following that boundary themselves?
So I'm going to surprise you with my answer. Absolutely. No questions asked. As an adult, as a parent, you have a responsibility. Let's say we're talking about a 16-year-old, plus as a marriage and family therapist, if I'm going to help you set boundaries in your family system, and I think you might have a problem, it's going to bring that to the surface. So, and there was an old ad campaign years ago by the government on the council, whatever, for a partnership for a drug-free America, and it said, it's okay to be a hypocrite. You may have drank, you may have done drugs. It's perfectly okay to tell your kids not to do it. There's nothing wrong with that, and because there's no other way we're going to figure out whether that kid has a problem. So that's really what it comes down to. And I know I get this. I mean, having lived in Colorado when they legalized medical marijuana, I had plenty of people coming to me saying, well, I mean, the truth is we use it. Why can't he? I'm like, because he can't get out of the basement. He's there 24/7. You're still going to work. So now we're back to the difference between social use, hard use, and addict. And so the only way we're going to find out which one the person is by setting some boundaries and parameters. Then we can come in with a plan. Yeah, I know.
And then, when treatment kind of, comes into play, or the thought process, at least we start thinking, family starts thinking, maybe, just maybe we need to get into treatment. The old adage is if they don't see there's a problem, do you still send them to treatment? I mean, do you convince them that there's an issue first and then send them to treatment? You know the deal.
Yeah. So this is what I call Plan A in my book. Oh wait, I have a copy of it right here. Hold on. How did I know? Either Chronic Hope, Parenting the Addicted Child, or Chronic Hope, Families in Addiction, available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. And one of the things we're going to do in the future is give people, if they want a free PDF copy of Parenting the Addicted Child, next week, we're going to have a place where they can sign up for my newsletter and get a free copy.
What?
I will make that commitment to you, Jay. I will make that commitment to you. This is why we have to set the plan. This is why we have to put together a 30-day plan of saying, hey, look, we love you. We see a problem. It's a problem in our family system. And that's what we're addressing. We're addressing the problem. We're not addressing you, the problem. We're addressing, our family system has a problem and we want to fix it and we want to get help. We got to get rid of that old-fashioned, you're the problem and you are the shame of the family system. That doesn't work. What we got to do is come at it from a perspective like we have a business, the family's a business, and the business is not doing well. Why? Well, because there's one part of the business that's struggling. Oh, okay, let's get that part of the business help. Let's find a solution that helps everybody. Revolutionary thinking. I don't know,
And then I think we'll end on this because I think this kind of gets overshadowed, and I like kind of making sure that it can, and I don't remember the last couple of episodes it really coming up. The one Kevinisms that I love is, you can't ask someone to do something you're not willing to. So I think a lot of the times we get these, and I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I think the families need to. Can you just kind of overview? The family needs to know, it's not pointing the finger that once Johnny gets sober, everything is going to go back to normal.
No, because normal is what got us here in the first place. So as we get whoever needs to get sober, what we're going to do is change the family system. The first thing we have to agree upon is that things are not working the way we're doing things, which is what you're referencing this is normal. Okay, so normal is not working. So we're going to help so-and-so go to treatment. Who knows who it is, but we're going to help them. But we're going to bring them back to a healed system as well that has changed internally. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. If the family system isn't willing to change, then I can guarantee you the person is probably going to end up relapsing. And it's not because of you, but they need support. Everybody needs support. So, yeah, and that's definitely one of the primary issues that we see, you and I see all the time is, he's gone to treatment 4 times and he never stays sober. I'm like, well, what was it like when he came home? What was the support system? Oh, well,
Well, normal is like a moving target. Normal, I think, is like happiness. It's not, the more you chase it, I think the more it eludes you. It's someone had a quote on happiness is, it's like a butterfly or something. The more you chase it, the more it eludes you or something. But you sit still and it'll come sit on your shoulder. I mean, I think I butchered it, but anyway, who's to say what normal is, I love when people say, is this normal? Well, there's a large definition of normal, but Anyway, we're going to do this next week. We're going to kind of go through a more educational kind of process through it. Keep your questions coming. We're not eliminating the questions because that lights up my soul every time we can go through a question. But next week we'll do some more, and then we'll keep answering questions. So if you see this, don't hesitate to reach to put a question in the comments. We'll get to it next week. But anyway, Kevin, we'll see you next week.
Always the highlight of my week, my friend.
Jeez.